Dear Christine Linz, ladies and gentlemen, actually for me it's quite exciting to be here, to return to the former building of the Parliament, because I had been here in the Ministry of Economics for 12 years, and then we moved to Berlin in 1999, so it's quite a long time, and being back here is a bit strange, but also a bit exciting. So, well, and 10 years ago, the former Chancellor Gerhard Schröder had invited you and the international community to the Renewables 2004 conference here in Bonn, and this, that was already set the starting point for a series of international renewable energy conferences in the following years. And a decade has passed since the starting conference, and I want to take this as an opportunity to look back on what has been done so far, but also to make ourselves aware what will be the next steps to take. First, actually, let us recall what the energy landscape looked like back in 2004. I think we can say it was quite different from today. Fossil fuels were by far the dominant global energy source, and oil was hitting a new record in June 2004 at $40 per barrel, still relatively cheap compared to the prices that we have seen since then. And renewable energy sources, in particular wind and solar energy, were a niche product with high installation costs. Countries that were promoting the deployment of renewable energy sources, like Denmark or Germany, were seen as mavericks. Since then, a lot has changed. On the positive side, I would say, we have witnessed a true success story for renewable energy. The primary energy supply by all renewable energy sources has increased by around 30%. The cost for renewable energies have constantly decreased. This is especially true for wind and solar energy. According to the 2014 UNEP report on renewable energy investments, the levelized cost of electricity from photovoltaics decreased in the range of 33.9 to 52.7% between the third quarter 2009 and the first quarter 2014. And this is due to technological development and the global large-scale deployment of mature technologies. Recent studies show that especially wind and solar energy are now in the same cost range as new fossil fuel power plants without CCS technology. And new nuclear installations are more expensive if we take the tariffs announced by the British government as a benchmark. And this cost decrease has led to more and more situations where renewables have become a strong business case without further support. I think we can say with some pride that Germany has contributed substantially to finance this learning curve by introducing incentive measures for renewable energies as early as 1991. All countries now have the chance to take advantage of the experiences gained. Also, countries investing in renewable energies are no longer mavericks. Rather, the opposite is the case, I would say. We have witnessed a worldwide trend in the deployment of renewables. And today, more than 140 countries of the world have set themselves a renewable energy target, and nearly the same number have introduced measures to foster the deployment of renewable energy sources. However, on the negative side, I must say, we have to realize that the relative share of renewables globally has increased only very slightly. The carbon intensity of power production has remained flat. Since 2004, China annually built new capacity of coal-fired power plants corresponding to the peak capacity of entire Germany. So each year, a new Germany, if I may say so, with only coal generators. The global CO2 emissions have increased by almost 23% within a decade. And there are a number of misperceptions in many people's mind to describe renewables as not competitive, not reliable, impossible to integrate into a grid, and so on and so on. So the bulk of work is still ahead of us. Well, what are our priorities in Germany, in Europe, and globally? Let me start with Europe. I think Europe will remain a frontrunner in the field of energy and climate policy. Just 3 weeks ago, the heads of member states of the European Union agreed on the energy and climate framework for 2030. This means an ambitious continuation of our policies until 2030, because 1 year ago, I would say, nobody really thought that the heads of state would end up with such a decision. Reducing the amount of domestic greenhouse gas emissions in the EU by at least 40%, increasing the share of renewables to at least 27% of the overall final energy demand, and by further improving energy efficiency to save at least 27% of the primary energy consumption, with a view to increasing the target to 30% by 2020 as an indicative target. All the before-mentioned developments are great achievements and should be seen as a strong motivation to continue our common efforts. In Germany, we have just recently reformed the Renewable Energy Sources Act, the EEG. The reform became necessary because of the fact that renewable energies are no longer a niche technology, but a main pillar of the German energy supply, accounting for more than 25% of the national electricity production. And we faced the situation that the funding program was at risk to become the victim of its own success. By adjusting the law to the new circumstances, we managed to slow down the cost increase significantly, to steer the further growth of renewable energy sources in a more predictable way, and to bring the renewable energy sources closer to the market. These were necessary steps to make the incentive system fit for the future and to upkeep the great public support for the renewable energy deployment, which is absolutely necessary, and it was mentioned in various interventions this morning. The challenge ahead is now how to integrate the renewables into the energy system and especially the electricity market. In this regard, we firstly have to evaluate what are the appropriate measures to optimize the available generation capacities. Secondly, we have to determine whether the electricity market creates enough incentives for the necessary capacity incentives in the future. The electricity market needs to be developed further to function well and to be able to cope with the occurring changes and the growing share of renewables. To address this challenge, the federal government of Germany has published a green paper on this topic with the aim of involving all stakeholders to find the best solution for the future deployment of the electricity market. A third challenge we have to address is how to increase energy efficiency. Improvements in this field of action are a key element for any successful deployment of renewable energy sources. First of all, because energy independent from its source of generation is too valuable to be dissipated. Secondly, because a more efficient use of energy can greatly contribute to reaching our aims in a cost-efficient way. When setting up our future plans for the deployment of renewables, we have to take into consideration what will be the future demand. We will be more successful if we first try to lower the demand to the cost-optimal level through efficiency measures, and then meet this demand by using renewable energies where possible and cost efficient. How much heat supply do we need if an effective insulation of a building reduces its energy demand? How much energy is needed in the industry sector if energy audits and evaluations realize bigger saving potentials? Energy efficiency is and will be an important driver for technological improvements and innovation in the industry. Well, so far so good. We have achieved quite a lot, but many challenges, I think, still lie ahead of us. To tackle these challenges effectively, it is of great importance that we further strengthen the cooperation among us. We have to learn from each other by exchanging experiences and best practices. The Renewable Energy Policy Network for the 21st century provides an excellent framework for this. Let me add that the competition among international expertise on renewables has significantly increased in the last decade. The International Energy Agency has made tremendous efforts to strengthen its analytical capacities in renewable energy. And we have seen the foundation of IRENA, acting as a hub for the renewables part of the Sustainable Energy for All initiative of the United Nations Secretary General. IRENA has published the report REMAP 2030, analyzing how the objective of doubling the renewables share globally by 2030 can be reached, cheaper than the business as usual scenario. Among these three frontrunners, REN21 remains special, I would say, as an important network of engagement from the civil society together with proactive governments. The past 2 days demonstrated this impressively. In my view, this year's REN21 Renewables Academy has been a great success. We have experienced informative presentations, vivid discussions, and interesting informal conversations with a cup of coffee in our hands. Building on the findings and experiences of the past 10 years, we have managed to extract and debate those questions which are the most urgent for a successful future development of renewable energy sources. And by that, I think we have paved the way for the upcoming International Renewable Energy Conference in the next year. I'm very excited that South Africa will welcome us in Cape Town in October next year as the first African nation to host an international renewable energy conference. And finally, let me thank you, Christine Linz, and all members of the REN21 Secretariat for the preparation and the smooth running of this academy. We very much value your efforts. Last but not least, I owe you, dear participants, a warm thank for your active and productive participation. And it was a good example this morning, this very vivid panel. And by this, I think you have greatly contributed to the success of this event. And so I can say, finally, I'm really looking forward to seeing you all again in South Africa at the latest. Thank you very much.
We have to thank you, Ursula, and I have to say the role as the Chancellor to come really fits you well. We will follow. So now we're really coming to an end. Let me just thank the global audience on the live stream for being with us. Let me thank you for these 3 very, very inspiring days. With you, we were talking a lot about fighting. Not only Rainer, but the rest of you. And next time I bring my boxing gloves and give you some advice. Since I have a Cuban trainer who is called Jesus, who else should train you? It was great. And I think the phrase, we may win is wrong. You will win if you take all this power to a next level. You definitely will win. And talking about power, Now, as you have learned the last 3 days, the microphone is a power, and now I finally handed over the power. Thank you for Christine Lenz. Without her and her team, we wouldn't be here, so thank you very much. Give her a warm final welcome. Christine Lenz, maybe not the next chancellorate, but as I heard, Ban Ki-moon tries to call her next year.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Christian. Well, it is really a great pleasure. Thank you very much, Mrs. Borak, for your kind words. I think it's a great pleasure for all of us to be back in Bonn at the birthplace of REN21 after a decade. I think it's very nice to be back in a really historic place. Just below us is the table where actually the reunification of Germany was decided, where the fall of the wall was decided, and I hope as our chair, Arturo Servos, mentioned it in his statement, that this academy contributed to tearing down the walls in the thinking that a transition to renewables and energy efficiency is possible, and is possible now. We had a great 2.5 days of discussion. It is the first time that the REN21 contributors met physically. They all interact on a very regular basis with the Secretariat. But it's really great to see so many of you here. I think there was quite lively exchange and discussion. We had 4 plenary and 6 parallel sessions. We had about 190 people registered. They didn't all show up. We had, I think, around 150 coming. Tell them what they have missed here. We had, of course, many more people in the live stream that joined us. And it was great to see the lively exchanges among, in the quiz rounds among the different people. I think new friendships and new contacts were made. That was the purpose of the Academy. It was the purpose to strengthen the network, to help you exchange ideas, to get ready to go out and lead the way towards a 100% renewable energy future. It was clearly stated that this will only be possible if we not only focus on renewables, but if we also focus on the demand side on energy efficiency. I'm not going to take you through all the key takeaways. We have, at the REN21 Secretariat, very carefully noted them. We will definitely make use of all your suggestions, also those that you fit in the feedback forms. I recall that we have launched 2 reports here at the Academy, one on the 10 years of renewable energy progress and one on the status of renewables and energy efficiency in the ECOWAS region. We will also put all the keynote presentations and the recordings online on our website, so those will be made available for everybody to put that at your disposal. And last but not least, I would really very much thank my team at the Secretariat, who have, and this you have to know, who have been working nearly day and night around the clock during these last 6 weeks to make this Renewables Academy possible. It's clear that without your dedication and support, this would not have been possible, and it's a great testimony on how much a small team of people, when they closely work together and productively work together, can achieve. A big thank you to Martin, Laura, Rana, Kanika, Hannah, Sandra, Az, Ayla, and Olu. Thank you very much. Of course, I would also like to thank all the staff from the World Conference Center here, our technicians who have so adeptly made sure that we understand each other and that we have the PowerPoints there. The catering staff, I think they took very well care of us throughout these days. And of course, last but not least, I would like to thank Christian Stahl, our Master of Ceremony, to take us through these 2.5 days. I'm standing here at the end of a great academy, and it gives me very much pleasure that my predecessors as heads of secretariat are here with us today, Virginia Sonntag-O'Brien and Paul Suding. It is great to be together and to celebrate the achievements of the last decade. Well, and then the only thing that I really have to say is to wish you a safe trip back home. The steering committee members of REN21 are not yet released. We are continuing with a steering committee meeting at the Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, which will start at 2 p.m. But for others, thanks for coming. This is your network. Make use of it, contribute, let's stay in touch, and let's continue to work together to tell the exciting stories of renewables. And then see you hopefully next year in October in South Africa. Thank you very much.